Well, I managed to watch that sci-fi show. It's just that right, the first 45 seconds just triggered me in so many different ways that it was just unbelievable. And it's quite good, but it got to the bit where he went to phone somebody, and then the Wi-Fi cut off, and I was thinking about the Bolivian cinema, and I mean the real Bolivian cinema. There's some good stuff, and noetic polity, and the ideas I had during coca in Bolivia about the coca and the noetic polity and the Pachamama, and that didn't seem harmful to me, and I don't think that the coca and chewing coca does any damage at all to intellectual, not as much damage as fucking motorcycles, to intellectual capacity. I think coca is a good thing for thinking. I don't know if anybody's done any studies on it. I think somebody should have. And quite a few students, I'd heard that quite a few students, when they get a lot of revision to do before exams, chew cocoa in Bolivia. And somebody ought to. It wouldn't be hard to do a study. You don't have to. You can do it after the fact, you know. I don't think that the answer is to I don't know, decide these things with one lunatic like me on a video. Oh no, it's maybe not one lunatic, but Terence McKenna. There was a lot of maths behind Terence McKenna's ideas. I don't think he was just fibbing, but I don't know. But I do know that the environment in Cambridge University is really sick, and I really needed to get out of that. And I know that I wrote some edgy stuff, but I don't know, I don't think it was a crime. I don't think writing should be a crime. I knew a lot of it was garbage. I wanted to write good stuff. I was trying hard to write a book about computer programming and mathematics and the connection, but I was missing so much. I did once ask I was pretty impressed by the work that went into the whole theorem prover. And I once asked Mike Gordon, I said, how did you do all this? I mean, there's an enormous amount of work. How did you do all this stuff? And he looked me straight in the eye and he said, straight off, smart drugs. And I said, oh. And I had no idea what he was talking about. And I never asked him. But when I got to Bolivia and I started learning about Hull, my conclusion was that those guys just hadn't taken enough, or they hadn't taken the right ones. And that thing, what a nightmare. And it's full of problems, I reckon. Once governments and national defense agencies start using theorems to prove stuff, and don't do it right, then you get into all sorts of weird shit. And I reckon there's quite a bit of it in Hull. But you'll have to talk to the guys at Lemma 1 about that, because they did it all in Ada and by the board, and they've sorted it all out. But you know, these things, the formalizations, it's very easy for formalizations not to catch everything about a problem. And I've got a great example, which was this company in, let's just check if there's camera still running, otherwise I'm wasting my time. There was this company based in Norfolk, I think, that were designing interlock systems for industrial control applications, stuff like process plants and oil rigs and things like this, where systems where you need to have safeguards to prevent certain valves being open when other valves aren't closed and things like this, to avoid producing dangerous situations by mixing or overfilling tanks or what have you. And the basic problem that this company had was that they had a formal description of the key system which didn't capture all of the physical realizations, and there was a bug in the physics of the thing, and there was a bug in the actual way in which the keys were manufactured, which meant that the formalism didn't see that you could you could turn certain keys upside down and they would work as other keys. Each key was supposed to be, in some sense, encoded with a physical identifier to physically prevent it from working the wrong lock. But because the formalism didn't capture the physics of the realization, it didn't work. And it's a bit like proving that Miller-Rabin is a good algorithm for generating keys for RSA, and then not capturing the fact that the particular key algorithm that the random number generator algorithm that you're using is not the one in the proof, and then what does the proof mean? And I guess there's stuff like that going on in Hull, and and going on in the education system, and now you've got all that going on. You really can't say that because I went climbing a mountain and chewed coca for a while and wrote a love story about mountaineering and my friend that I caused the end of the world. But if that drove a whole lot of people nuts, I don't know what to do about it. I mean, writing is dangerous. Ask Hank Bukowski. He drank while he wrote because he was so terrified. He didn't say what he was terrified of, but he was terrified. He gave up his job as a postman and decided to become a poet, and sat at his typewriter and drank and wrote, and was motivated by fear. Guess because he lived in LA, but he didn't have very good security. So those are my thoughts on cocaine poetry.